Welcome to the Lake Forest Podcast, a podcast about the lovely city of Lake Forest, featuring topics like local news, sports, music, people, food, and politics. My name is Pete, and I'm joined with the voice of the Lake Forest Scouts, football and basketball, Skoo Walker.
Hockey and soccer.
Fielder, soccer. How you doing, Skoo?
Doing good today, this beautiful rainy day.
Oh, it's like we're in England. Hey, we got a show sponsor, NeuroNoodle. Hey, parents of athletes, your kids get a physical every year, right? We'll include a brain map so you have a baseline to compare it to in case something happens. It takes only 20 minutes to get the data you need to figure out if your athlete should get back on the field or court. Hey, we'd also like to say we are grateful for our Patreon supporters, Reverend Luke Back from the Church of the Holy Spirit, Matt A., and our new supporter, Elizabeth B. Welcome aboard, Elizabeth. It'll be a fun ride. Skoo, big week for Lake Forest football, huh?
Yeah, right? Huge week. And even better, I'm sure you have not seen that, or that would have been sprinkled all throughout, but two of our scout players were named to the Illinois High School Association Coaches Association All-State team.
Who?
Ah, look at those eyes. I'll give you a guess.
Scheidler. Come on, Scheidler.
Scheidler was one.
Oh, man. Did Jahari make it? I mean.
No.
Okay.
Brock Uline.
Uline. Interesting. Nice.
I think it was 20 or I think it was maybe 15 kids. Scouts representing one of only two teams that had two players.
I'll tell you what.
The true all-state team. I should say there's 6A all-state, but that's, the true one is the Illinois News, the Champaign News Gazette. They named the all-state team of players outside of classes.
Now
it's just the top players.
Yeah, when do they? That's the original OG one. When does that one get announced?
I don't know. I think it's towards the end of the month, maybe. But still, I mean, the Illinois Coaches Association put out their by-class all-state team, and Leo and Brock. Way to go! Way to go!
Now, Uline, he does a little fullback, and then he does running back, and
he kills people on defense. Linebacker.
And he's a linebacker. Doesn't he ever run? Doesn't he run with the ball too?
Yeah, he does in short yardage.
Short yardage, okay.
But
got it. All right.
Yeah, he's on there for linebacker.
Well, it just goes to show you, man. You got a good quarterback and a good linebacker, man. You can.
And a good running back and a good wide receiver.
Good, right. Okay, fair enough. So still no pep rally, huh?
Did you think something was going to change from last week? What I tell you, it's the apathy of no one wants to do it. Too much work.
Well, guess what, Skoo?
What, Pete?
I think we should do something. I think we should do something this Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. at Chiefs for not only the Lake Forest High School team and the Lake Forest College team. They're both playing Saturday. College is playing at 12, and then the high school is playing at 1. We're going to be at Chiefs, 5 to 7 p.m. First drink is on this guy, and we will – but here's the catch. 1, you got to RSVP. We got to know how many people are coming because you get a Evite, and then you take the ticket in, you turn it in for a beer. 2, you got to wear your colors. So it's what, green and gold? What's Lake Forest? That blue?
Gold.
Blue. That's Lane Tech. Blue and gold, and then red and black for the college.
Come on, Pete. What the hell?
I'm buying drinks.
Your nephew's on the team, and you don't even know the colors.
Oh, it's blue
and gold.
Blue and gold. Okay.
Black
now
and white, black and red.
So Joe Neasley, he stepped up to the plate and said, "Hey, man, all right, guys, come on in." Uh, so we're going to figure out how to do it. It's our first, like, listener appreciation pep rally all combined. So it's going to be pretty interesting. So come one, come all, but you just got to RSVP. Are a lot of people in town, or are they all split during the weekend before Thanksgiving? What do they do around here, Scoot? This is the week before.
I think, well, back in the day, this was destination. Now it's exit. Now they come back. I mean, people usually, what is it? School gets out Tuesday or something.
Yeah.
So people are heading back to their hometowns, probably tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't get it. You spend the money to live in a nice place and you go somewhere else. Whatever.
I loved it growing up. Everyone came back. Town was bustling. Now it's just kind of.
Wait, you were saying it was vibrant?
I said bustling.
Oh, bustling.
Vibrant too, yes.
Which is better, vibrant or bustling?
I think they go hand in hand.
Okay.
Vibrant and bustling town is what you like.
Okay.
But the trees in the square, beautiful tree this year, not some Charlie Brown tree like it was the last couple of years, and
how many times? It looked like
of the family on Oakwood.
Oh, West Side tree.
No, West Side. I think you're getting your things mixed up, Pete. There's West Side, and that's out west in West Lake Forest, who they continue wanting to annex and start a new town called West Lake Forest. But that's
okay.
West Side is not here.
Okay.
This is east.
What about a VELF? Was it very East Lake Forest?
Never heard of VELF.
I've heard. Oh yeah, I've heard of VELF. Well, see, you're not here.
People coming in town keep bringing up these dumb acronyms and all that. Very East Lake. East Lake. No, there's Lake Road. That's very easy. Very East Lake Forest is the lake.
All right, fair enough. All right, so we got the pep rally.
Continue to create your own crazy acronyms and calling East Lake Forest, West Lake Forest, and Lake Bluff, whatever. And
I'm just, you just stay on your side of the tracks. That's all. You'll be okay.
I've been on both sides of the tracks.
All right. Well, those were the days.
Those were the days.
So then Friday after Thanksgiving, that's the tree lighting, right?
Tree lighting, yep.
So if you're new in town, like what's
Santa will be there.
Santa will be there, but like, where do you go? It's like in the trees in the middle of Market Square. Then
they block off the square and they block off, Westminster to West or Deer Path, and right in front of the train station is the choir, high school choir, chorale group, who's ever going to be singing this year, Christmas songs, and then the mayor's going to flip the switch.
So the mayor flips the switch. Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be the mayor this year. Of course it is. During the day, and usually have ice sculpting, but who knows with our wonderful COVID how stuff might get shut down. But usually have chestnuts roasting on an open fire. It's a good time.
So the mayor flips the switch. It's not like a special guest that comes in and is it like Chevy Chase Christmas? All right.
No, sometimes it doesn't go. Sometimes it does.
Well, I'm sure they test.
They test all. They've been testing since the fall. Firing the lights up and all that, and I'm sure you've seen that.
Yeah, I've seen those guys in the buckets.
You never know.
You get any blowback from the burger survey?
No, none at all.
Got a couple of gripes here and there, but
really, let's hear them. Love gripes.
Just the methodology of how we come up with things, and I said you're right. You're
Someone is complaining about how we. I mean,
well, how we ask people to rank things and whatnot. So
well,
it's
I mean,
like,
how are you supposed to do it? I mean, yes, we got a crack support staff. 5 of those guys working hard behind the scenes.
oh my goodness.
And all that, but my goodness, I mean, when is it right or wrong? I mean, it's a survey.
Well, people are very passionate about
the burger. That shouldn't be asked that way. Do you mean ham, or do you mean impossible, or do you mean
pineapple.
oh,
Can you believe McDonald's had a hula burger?
But they got the McRib back.
There's nothing like good pressed, processed.
That McRib, that meat just
product
right off the bone.
No, there's no bone involved, my friend.
Oh, yeah, there is. You got to pick it off, and it just slides off and back on the bone. It's so good.
It is compressed, processed. Not that everything's wrong with it.
I've never had one. That they fillet the bone off. It is real meat, and it's just tasty.
If you're saying that they take a press, a mold.
No. That's why, Pete, that's why McDonald's only has a McRib a certain time of the year. Go to the I'm serious.
Yeah.
People send an email and verify it. Go to the Highland Park Highwood or the Highwood McDonald's, and I'll guarantee you, right as you're pulling through the drive-thru, they got a smoker out there where they're smoking the beef and all that, and then they bring it in and put it on the McRib. It's so good, Pete.
Shut up, Skoo. Skoo, pull my other leg. It plays Jingle Bells. All right, so we had the the burger survey. Now we have the pizza survey. We're gonna leave that up for a little bit because we got the holidays coming up. We'll give a couple weeks on that one. We'll let that one cook. Just like a good pizza, you want it well done.
You're talking regular pizza or oven cooked pizza? Or stone or whatever they call it?
Delivered.
Oh, delivered.
That's the only way you can do it. What else? You ready for some politics, Skoo?
Bring it.
All right. So Ward 1's looking for an alderman, and we had our little
finalized.
Well, it was finalized last night with the caucus who they want to put forward.
So what's that process, Pete?
That process.
When you say brought forward, where does that go now?
Well, we have the person that we want to put forward up on the ballot to be voted on. I think it's in March, depending if they push back the ballot. But let's just say it's March. So I'm sure they're going to be in the back printing these ballots, and the town's got to vote on it. Having sit through the process.
Any breaking news?
No.
Okay.
I
don't want to get you in trouble.
It's not about getting in trouble. It's more of a disappointment or an embarrassment or ashamed.
Really?
Based on the guidance of the executive leadership, they steer who they want to win.
Steer.
Well,
they should be sitting on their hands. Isn't it the caucus who interviews and votes?
Well, let's just take Ward 1. Ward 1 finds some people, we interview them, and then we put them in front of the caucus committee, and then they sit in this chair, and the whole caucus committee asks questions. And
it's daunting. Been there, done it.
It's a hot seat. It's a very comfortable chair, but it can be a hot seat. But
got to be on a swivel.
When the leadership says, "Hey, you know what? If all things are equal, we want to put a female up for the position," that kind of makes me
what?
Yeah.
I thought we're looking for the most qualified.
Well, no, they're both very qualified, but if they're equal, then pick the female. And
that's not equal then.
well,
Not most qualified then.
well, it's when executive leadership says that before the interview,
Mm-hmm.
and then executive leadership, if the candidate who they want, let's just say is a female, and doesn't answer a question, I don't want to say correctly or well, and they go in and then they try to steer them to a proper answer to the question when they know that the answer was, I don't want to say incorrect or they didn't do a good job, and the other candidate doesn't get the same treatment, then it's very questionable.
Well, I'm confused because my understanding, and it's just my understanding, not like I was on the caucus committee and served as a third ward chair.
Yeah.
That 9 people in each ward, they're the ones that are interviewing the candidate and voting on the candidate. So, that's 36 people that are listening and casting a vote. How can it be, steered by executive committee?
Well, if you're new, right?
Yeah.
Your first year, you can be, not say swayed, but it's when you say, hey, you know what? We need to get more females on the city council. And then there's 2 candidates, one's a male, one's a female. I think you're going into before any questions are asked of the candidates, you're like, I better look at the female one way and I better look at the male the other way. No,
but isn't that clearly violating one of the principles of being on the caucus, is not having a bias? I mean, if you come in and say, all things being see, I don't understand that. All things being equal, so let's just say they're, both had great interviews, right? And then it's put to a vote. You got 36 people. I mean, 36 people, are they voting 18 and 18 is the final outcome, and then the exec committee? I can't believe that there would be 8.
Well, you don't.
Who should? That's crazy that someone would say that.
Well, it's even crazier when.
Is why have the caucus committee if an exec council is trying to steer or make those decisions for everyone?
Where I'm coming from, Skoo, is like I've really lost faith in the process.
Wow.
I could see this one. The other person that interviewed, if they would contest it, I would vote for them. Because I haven't talked to anybody else in the caucus committee about it, but it was just so clear that one person was like, here, and we can disagree on this one. When you go to these meetings, you get packets and you need to prepare, right, Skoo? I've never been in a board meeting, but you get a bunch of information, right? So you have to prepare yourself before you go into the meeting.
Sure.
And if this interview is like a big meeting, you would think that you would treat it like you would an aldermanic meeting, a city council meeting, whatever goes in there. You want to be prepared. So when you're asked the question, hey, how did you prepare for this meeting to get ready for this interview? And you say, I didn't. You have one candidate that says, I didn't prepare. And you have another candidate that goes down the list of things on what they did to research to prepare. How is one candidate going to be in that city council meeting versus the other? That's
right.
And we as a caucus committee have dinged or have ixnayed people for answering that particular question in a poor way. And I can't think of any worse answer than saying that you didn't prepare. When you have executive council starting off a meeting with your preference, who's the female, and then ending the deliberation with your preference, that's the female, I really question on what's going on. It's almost we're better off whoever has the most money winning. I can't believe I'm saying that, Skoo.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess the whole beauty of the caucus, in my opinion, is that there's 4 wards, 9 people are elected by their constituents in the ward to serve as interviewers to fill boards and commissions. I mean, I understand that the exec council is technically elected by the public, but they're not technically elected because they serve out their ward and then they get onto the exec council, kind of on a wink and a hug from previous exec council people. But I'm trying to figure out when you say that, like, what is, you ask questions in an interview, you're looking for how that person responds, but you said the right answer. What is the right? I mean, that's kind of a trick question. If you're asking questions of a potential volunteer, that's really kind of tricking them into. I mean, if that person said, this is my opinion, if that person asked the question, what did you do to prepare? And the person says nothing. Okay, well, what's the next question? And then the interview continues, and then people vote on it, and they can vote however you want. But it sounds like these questions are skewed because there's supposed to be a right answer to these questions, which I don't.
Well, Skoo, I've heard it from you that one of your pet peeves for these people on the board meetings is they get these packets and they don't review them or prepare, right? So if you don't prepare for that, that's kind of that's my take on these people that come in.
Right, but I mean, I guess the volunteer that's been brought forward by the ward to interview in front of the full caucus, they're not getting a packet to interview. Unlike someone on a board or commission that they're given a week or whatever in advance of the meeting, here's everything that's going to be discussed, and you got to go out and do your homework. I guess the homework is, if you're brought forward, some people do a lot of investigative work, look at different council meetings or commission meetings or whatever it might be. It's kind of tough, at least in my opinion, that how did you prepare if the answer you're looking for, and again, I think it depends on the answer, right? I mean, if I have never been served in the community on a board or commission, I think what did you prepare is a little different for someone that has experience as opposed to someone that just, someone said, hey, this person's going to be a great alderman, let's bring him in. And then you interview him and say, what'd you do to prepare? What do you mean prepare? As opposed to someone that's served on a board or commission, they may start, their interviews more geared, I guess, around what they've done as volunteers, right? And that, I guess I'm just saying maybe that question is a little less impactful as opposed to someone that hasn't been on it. But, I guess it's all.
Well, it's impactful when other people have been voted against in deliberation because of that particular question and the response to it. So we have not been consistent.
That's why I'm asking, is that a trick question? Like, what's the answer everyone's looking for? I mean,
greater than 0 is the answer, because it shows passion that you want the job and you're willing. That's what's been been going on in the past. So
I'm just saying, on the overall, though, if in the whole question process through the 4 wards, if that person is engaged and really going through what they've done for the community, how they can do as an alderman or whatever, is that less as impactful as someone that has no clue and can't? I mean, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying, is that really a trick question, or what are you trying to get out of the person? I mean, again, I'm just saying, if someone's been on a board or commission, are you looking for them to say, I don't work on the board, or I'm on the board or commission and I don't do my homework? Or, what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense, but
no, what I'm looking for is, again, that particular question is asked on every interview, and we have dinged a good number of people.
No, I understand that. I'm asking you, as someone on the call, what's the answer? What's the right answer you guys are looking for?
The right well, here, me as a voter voting on the person. When you say you didn't prepare, that tells me you're not going to be prepared in a city council meeting. Right.
That's one thing. You're out with that person no matter what.
That's the worst answer based on how we've voted on people in the past.
I'm with you.
So
that's why I'm saying is that just a Pete, or is that a
no? That's a deliberation. That is people.
It sounds like people have been screwed on. Their whole have a great interview and they say what. All I'm saying is what is the criterion to come sit in front of everyone. I guess my question is, and I'm not arguing your point because I think it's very valid that if you're not going to be prepared for a meeting, that just parlays into potentially not being prepared for a council meeting or a commission meeting or a board meeting, whatever.
Well, we've picked people that have not been prepared and then they don't finish out. Right? It's like we're
that's why you're in that position right now, because someone didn't finish out.
Right. So
but I guess my question is, at least my interpretation. Well, I say interpretation. I'm talking about experience. I guess I can use my knowledge of the caucus because I was on it.
Right.
If I'm in a ward, because I don't know how, it sounds really sketchy how these interviews happen at the ward level anyways, because I've been through a couple and I'm in the third ward, but yet I'm supposed to interview with these people in the other ward, whatever. But I think, at least when I was there, that if I'm bringing an alderman from the third ward that we've interviewed as a ward, and we say, you know what, collectively the third ward likes this person and we're bringing them forward to the full caucus. My assumption, based on past experience, would be, and that's been done before, is okay, Joe Smith, you're going to be interviewing in front of the full caucus. You might want to be prepared. You might want to do this. You might want to do that to make yourself prepared. I don't know if that happens, but that's a responsibility, in my opinion, of the ward that's bringing someone forward. And really, for you guys, the first ward should kind of be sitting back there, just kind of, we love these guys because we prepped them. And I don't know if that happens or not, but I agree with you. No one should be, when someone asks what you did to prepare, saying nothing, I didn't do anything. But my question is, and I think it's a trick question, and all these trick questions is because there's no right answer. If I was asked that question and I said X, Y, and Z, and people go, oh, that's not what we wanted to hear. Well, what the F? I mean, if I did my due diligence in a certain way to prepare myself for a meeting, for the interview, and then the interviewee doesn't like that because they're looking for something else, that to me that's not valid. I mean, I think these questions should just be asked with no behind the scene intention. But if someone says, yeah, I mean, a simple question, what do you know about the board or commission? I don't know. Well, but that's the fall of the ward.
Yeah.
Because that person should never have been brought forward, and that's happened, I guess.
It's a weed out question that we haven't been consistent with, and I see why people get pissed about this process, because it's either you go through stuff like this when you're looking to fill the position with a gender, not the best person, and you have the executive committee that starts deliberations and ends it with the candidate that they want.
But I guess my point I'm trying to make, Pete, I get what you're saying. My point is and I'll use the first word. That question, what did you do to prepare, in my opinion, should never be asked at the full caucus level. That should be asked at the ward level. And that's as you said, a weed out question. That's a weed out question to not get that person gets moved forward by the ward, and then you're asking, what did you do to prepare? That, to me, that's backwards.
Yeah.
If you want to weed someone out, and the weeding out should be done when you have, 15, 20 people or whatever it might be, trying to figure out who's the right person. That's the weed out questions. What did you do to prepare for this meeting with the ward? Nothing. Okay, you're out. That's not at the full caucus level. The full caucus level, that all 4 wards should be asking questions like, more. You've been on boards and commissions. How do you see that being, taking that knowledge on to the next one? Maybe talk about your family, but again, the family stuff should all be at the ward level. And then the ward chair should be introducing that person and giving the background and this, and this person served, did this. And those questions about the experience should be asked, as opposed to a weed out question that should have been done at the ward level.
We're not supposed to have an agenda, but when we say, hey, we got a female leaving, we need to, we should replace it with a female.
That's an agenda.
That's an agenda, and it's so wrong. There has to be some oversight, because let me tell you what, man, the guy that didn't get it, I would vote for him. I would tell him to contest it. He got screwed, man.
I guess all I'm saying, Pete, is it sounds like that full caucus discussion, it gets kind of hairy, because there's questions that should have been asked at the caucus level. And again, like even the exec council or whoever was saying, all things equal, vote for the female. Again, that's horrible. But my point is on that is that should never be discussed, because the duty, the responsibility of the ward that was elected by the ward, the people that live in the ward, was to determine through the interview process that issue, all those issues. And I don't know why, first off, you're bringing 2 people in front of the full caucus, where again, I think that's the responsibility of the ward, is saying, we interviewed 10, 15, 3 people. This is the best person.
That's the other thing is,
and there's no discussion about it. That's what the ward decided.
Yes, that's what I don't get. Why do you give the caucus committee a choice when you don't give the public a choice?
Right.
The voters, right? Because it's basically
the voters, yes. But let's back up on that. Is the reason why the public doesn't get a choice, and I hate to say it that way, is because of how our system is set up, that it's delineated by 4 wards. Each ward person that lives in the ward supposed to vote for their representative on the caucus. The caucus ward people, their responsibility is to find people, interview people, and appoint people, to fill boards and commissions. And again, my experience. Okay. And this is where it's flawed. Based on what I'm hearing from you, is if we had an alderman spot, we went through the interview process, and I'm telling you, 9 people showed up for interviews, not 4, not 3. All people in the ward showed up for the interview process, and that was the ferreting process. The whole caucus process was, here's who we're bringing, let's interview them. And yes, that is kind of and then the full caucus is going to vote on that person. Now the full caucus can go, no, we don't like them, or her,
Right.
and then you're back to, but that process should be sacred in the sense that's what you guys do, and this is just kind of the formality is in front of the whole caucus, and then it's decided, chances are when that work is done the right way and you're in front of the full caucus, it's just kind of a hand stamp asking the people, questioning the person the ward selected, and it moves on. And the reason why that's just how that's set up. Now, the public then gets to vote. But again, I mean, the caucus process is not to put one or two people, it's one person.
Yeah.
And you're diminishing the ward value and the value of the caucus when a ward's told to bring 4 people or 3 or 2 in front of the full caucus so we can vote on it. I don't get that. That doesn't make sense. Now, you can say I'm wrong and all that, that's fine, but that creates the problem, I think. Now, you're going to get contested elections but see, that's my whole point. Now you got 2 people interviewing that, you guys couldn't make a decision on. No offense.
Yeah.
I mean, really, you need to fill an alderman spot, and
we made a decision. We picked one of the 2. But you're saying the ward.
Yeah.
We're told to bring 2. That's the process.
Why? Okay. But that's what I'm saying is then you create
at the direction of the executive leadership. Okay. Now, a couple things. All right. We're not supposed to have an agenda, yet all things being equal, we want a female.
Right. That's an agenda.
Okay. Check this out. The executive board, we're not supposed to be dealing with politics, but on the executive board, you know how many Republicans are on the executive board?
How many?
0.
And because there's been a lot of complaining that, valid or not, but what's the breakout of the entire caucus?
The rest of the caucus leans Republican.
So how does that the people like in the last school board election were saying it swings the other way?
Brother, all I know is based on what I've seen in the last,
Democrats on the caucus. I know that's been screened, but you're saying it's not.
I'm looking at the numbers that I see here, and let's say 50-50 maybe leans Republican for the regular Joes like me. But when you get to the executive level, you have 0 Republicans on there. Nothing. 0. So I would say
that gets back to the old buddy thing.
Well, yeah. And you know what? Anybody that feels that way has the right, because from what I've seen, that it is that way. It doesn't want to change. There's not enough people that give a crap that want it to change.
Right.
Right.
Which is probably more than
So to me, I would say I doubt that the caucus is the best system out there, man.
Well, it's the best system when run properly, and it's the best system because there's no other system, and there can't be another system. I mean, it's just, there's too many behind the scene things that you have to redo. I mean, it's crazy, but there's no oversight of it unless what I see. Well, I mean, an individual said a while ago, and I completely agree with it, because my whole take on the caucus is if it's properly executed.
But it's not. So
if it's properly executed,
let
me finish. That number one, there should never be a contested election. I mean, that's a utopia, but it's very rare that there is a contested election until lately. And it's because things are skewing the way that, people feel like they're not getting the right shake if they're, get the interview. And, again, I don't think I think the problem is if there's an open position in a ward, it sounds like that particular ward may not be interviewing for that position. Another ward might be interviewing for that, which is wrong. I mean, if and granted, if Ward 1 has 5 spots to fill, why would Ward 2 people be interviewing for people for that? That defeats the purpose of the caucus. I mean, it's just but Pete, I'm getting at the if I'm interviewing for a school board position, and it's not ward specific, but if someone is interviewing me and I don't get a chance to be in front of the full caucus, and and that ward that may be interviewing for District 67 school board interviews 4 people, and let's say 4 people showed up for the ward meeting to interview the person, and that person didn't get a fair shake. And they're like, oh crap, I had a 4-minute interview. 3 people asked me a couple silly questions, and then I was moved, thank you very much. And then I have a guy that interviewed after me that there were 9 people there. And last I checked, 9 people voting has a lot more impact than 4 people voting. All I'm saying is it's so skewed, it sounds like, that, and again, back to, pillars of being on the caucus is non-biased, right?
Yeah.
And you got to have time and make time.
Right.
I mean, I think it's crazy that people are being interviewed, from what I hear, people are being interviewed by caucus wards not at full strength. 9 people, right?
Yeah.
How can you have interviews and make fair decisions on people if all 9 people aren't there? And that's the ward chair's responsibility, saying, you know what, we need to interview these people with a full slate of caucus members, because that's what we were voted to do. And that seems like the problem too.
Well, I'm asking because I don't know.
And back to I diverged off the point I was going to make is, someone mentioned it before, and I think it needs to be done, is an independent board or subcommittee to look at how the caucus is handling stuff.
Yeah.
Because right now there's too much, ambiguity, and, we shouldn't have people spinning off boards or commissions. We shouldn't have people not doing the work on boards and commissions. We shouldn't have, aldermen leaving, without fulfilling full terms or whatever. It's just, now people have their own decisions why they do that. But if our process of nominating and electing people, the caucus committee, is broken, it's all the fallout down the line on the boards and commissions. And that's, I mean, look what's happening on a lot of boards and commissions. That is, if you're on the caucus committee, you got to raise your hand and go, that's our fault, because we're putting these people there. But we're putting these people not doing the right due diligence. And if you're interviewing people in a ward with 4 people and there's 9 supposed to be there, what you should be doing is going, hey, listen, we got to change the interview because we need 9 people there. Not saying, you know what, we're going to interview anyways because 5 of the caucus people in the ward can't make it. You know what that means? They don't have time to be on the caucus.
Right.
They're not interviewing every single day of the week. And interviewing at 7 o'clock on a Sunday, you're interviewing people. All 9 people should be there, or you shouldn't be doing the interview.
You know in Ward 1, you know how many caucus members were at every interview for the 2 alderman candidates we had?
Hopefully all 9.
I was one and another person. That's it.
See, that's the problem. And that's when people come back and go, I didn't get a fair shake. Because when you guys bring 5 or 6 people or whatever it might be for a board or commission, you guys interview them, right? We interview all of them. And then as a ward, we're going to vote on these people, right? Who we're going to bring forward to the full caucus, right? Now, that's the process, right?
Yep.
Okay. So you go through those 5 or 6 interviews of people, and then you're at your caucus meeting, your ward meeting, and you got all 9 people there to vote. And we say, okay, let's talk about Pete. What's everyone's thought on Pete's interview? And 5 people raise their hand and go, I wasn't there for it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's just vote the 4 people that were there. 2 people, 3 people didn't like him. Out.
Yeah.
But if those other 5 were there and liked him, it's a totally different game. That's the problem. And if in your ward, if people aren't showing up and they're on the caucus, you know what that ward chair should be doing? You're out.
Yeah.
You don't show up, you don't have the time. It's not a bad thing, but if you don't have the time, you're wasting everyone's time by being on here.
So if there's a committee to look at the processes, who's in charge of that? The mayor?
I think the mayor has the authority, I guess, to say, we need to look at this stuff, and there's a lot of stuff.
Well, then he's got to look at this. Look, man, a year from March, I'm outie. I'm done, donezo, right? And there are many people that are going to say, hey, this is wrong, right? They're going to go along with the flow. All right.
But that's the whole thing. You're raising the flag on it because you're experiencing it. But if people at the exec level that need to take that seriously and kind of look around and see what's going on the boards and commissions and kind of self-reflect and say, that's us.
Yeah.
We're the cause of this. We're not interviewing the right people. We need to relook at what we're doing. Because it's like, what is like HPC? They have 4 spots to fill? I mean, all these boards and commissions, as a result, I mean, you got 2 people that were fired, so to speak, on the commission because they took their opinions and biases and stepped out of bounds.
Well,
that shouldn't be happening. It should be. I think there should be an independent look at how the caucus, look at what the caucus is, overall, not what the caucus did and we changed the bylaws and all. What's the general purpose and what's supposed to be done and what is happening? Those full interviews, the exec committee should really have they should keep their mouths shut because it's the 36 people that are listening and voted.
Well, that's not happening. Last night, just wow, that there was somebody that was wanted beforehand, and there was somebody that wasn't wanted beforehand. Clear as day.
I mean, that's horrible. If that's was really said that all things. I don't know what all things equal means, but that means a 18-18 vote, in my opinion. But
well, when you're writing it down on a piece of paper, folding it and putting in, and you don't know who voted for what.
Oh, that's true.
Right. So, look, man, Mayor, I'm just telling you, man, look under the hood. Look under the hood.
I think he's clearly aware because, again, I mean, there's so much volatility, I think, in a lot of these boards right now that you got to kind of look back at what and how and why. And that, again, gets to, I mean, even to this, the extent of people being put on these boards and commissions, and they, as you said, don't do their work.
Yeah.
Or they get on these boards and commissions, and I'm one that kind of likes watching boards and commissions. But when people are asking during a deliberation on a board or commission, a commissioner or a board member asks the person that's applying for something, a question, and then the response is, well, it's on page 8 of the packet. It's like,
how did you prepare for this meeting?
I'm like, but Pete, that happens a lot. That happens. I was on a board where that was happening. It's like, are you kidding me? You people didn't do your work. You just showed up.
Yeah.
And
Well,
and that's the whole thing. These boards and commissions are there to help city staff make decisions how to run, the processes that work in the city. And, if people are just getting on it to fill a resume, or then they go, oh, holy shit, I didn't know the plan commission meets for 3.5 hours every meeting. Well, I don't want to do that. And then they jump off. That's those are basic questions back to the caucus and the wards, preparing. Well, gee, Pete, did you know that the plan commission meets almost 4 hours, a meeting, once a month, and a lot of that work before the 4-hour meeting takes like 20 hours. You were talking about a weeder?
yeah.
All of a sudden that person goes, oh, I was just told I'd be great at it. I mean, I got to put that much, I don't have time to put that much work into it. Not
Skoo,
be on it and then go, holy crap, I can't show.
this Ward 1 alderman, if it becomes contested, I totally understand why. I get
I think there's gonna be a lot of contested elections where they're contested, just because where they can be contested, because people are, feeling that they're kind of, and now as we've gone through this, I'm like, holy crap. I mean, some of these people were right in what they were saying. And I'm the first one going, no, that's a crazy person. They don't, the caucus is there to do the process.
Yeah.
And they just didn't, and now it's like, no, they're not doing the process. I'm the first one going, I was wrong. I was hoping the caucus was doing the right stuff. Doesn't sound like it though.
And I'm telling you, man, I can't believe I'm saying it, but looking at how things are being done, especially last night, I'm hard pressed to figure out a better way than just, okay, you got the most money, at least you'll have a system in place and a staff that will do this thing.
Well, and you know what? And let's hope whoever the person is that's being brought forward is going to do a phenomenal job. It sounds like the person's experienced and knows how the city works, so that's a good thing. I mean, if it works, it works. But the process to get there sounds,
you just need
the woman over the guy is really kind of
bad. And this kind of gets down to the executive board, man. The vice president turns into the president picks all their chums, and then you get this.
Yeah, that's now. And again, like I said, I mean, that the person selected at the end of the day could do a great job.
I hope they do, because it's in my ward, the East Side ward. Thanks for listening to the Lake Forest Podcast. Please give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and smash that like button on Facebook, Instagram, and follow us on Twitter. Let us know what you'd like to hear about in the upcoming shows. Again, I'm Pete, and I can be reached at pete@lakeforestpodcast.com. The link will be in the podcast notes. On behalf of my co-host, Skoo Walker, we thank you for listening. Join us Friday. Go Scouts. Join us Friday at Chiefs and Foresters at Chiefs for our pep rally, 5 to 7 p.m. First drinks on us if you RSVP. We thank our Patreon supporters, Church of the Holy Spirit and Reverend Luke Back, Matt A., and Elizabeth B. Cue the band.